What's up everybody, Kier Gomes here, and welcome back. So, I probably owe you guys an explanation based on the title of this video. So it's not clickbait or anything. This is going to be the final deck review that I do on this channel, at least the final deck review that I do for decks that are not mine. I'll probably still have to do a spotlight for Generation 1 and Slow Hands and the Spectacle deck, but this will be my last deck review for decks that are not mine that you're gonna see on this channel. Now, before you unsubscribe and thumbs down the video, let me just talk a little bit about why. This is gonna sound kind of weird, but I think when I first got into making YouTube videos, I was going about it like all wrong. What happened was I had kind of been reintroduced to Magic after a couple of years of just kind of, you know, growing up and like, you know, trying to work a normal job and do the normal thing. Magic had changed a lot in the couple of years that I hadn't been doing it, you know, like between when I was like 17 and 21. And so like most people, I did what everyone does. I go to YouTube, I start looking up stuff, and I stumble across, you know, the big people, the Alex Pandreas of YouTube, the Chris Ramseys, you know, the Spade, the Daniel Madison. And I think what happened, and I'm not sure if I've ever said this, but I wanted to be taken seriously so bad and so desperately that I became way more obsessed with looking like a cool, serious magician than actually becoming a cool or serious magician. I don't know if that makes sense, but, you know, I mean, I saw these people on YouTube and I wanted to be like that. I don't know why. I'm not exactly sure what happened. I think it influenced, you know, what eventually became a unique style, but the point is I became obsessed with just having every single deck of cards so that way I could post a picture on Instagram or do a review on YouTube and you guys would think that I was cool. As a result of that, I have ended up doing countless deck reviews. Most of them are meaningless. You know, if I'm being honest, I went through a really longer than I wanted to, period of doing deck reviews. And it's not because, you know, it's not that I don't like doing them. I think what it is that I don't really buy into it, you know, and it's just that it's not me. That's me trying to be cool, not me trying to be me, you know? And I think that obsession with being cool leads to things like, you know, accepting free decks so that way you can be the guy that has all of them. At the end of the day, it was all motivated by me wanting to be seen as cool. We all do it, and I know I'm not the only one, but I think that has kind of taken its toll on deck reviews for me. It's you know what it is I became so obsessed with the cards that I never took the time to learn more. I never took the time to learn anything new. I knew enough to use a deck of cards, and then I just got obsessed with collecting the tools and never really expanded on learning the craft. I'm not that great of a magician. I'm definitely not that great at cardistry. I know a little bit, you know, here and there, but ultimately what I'm passionate about is not having everything and is not being cool. I have to separate myself from this need to be validated because at the end of the day, this is a small community, it's a small industry, but it's a big world. And there's a lot of opportunity if you can see past, you know, the niche of playing cards and playing card reviews. And I'm not saying that for everybody. I'm saying that specifically for me. I think there's a lot of review channels out there that are good for being real and good for being informative and good for, you know, telling you what you need to know about your purchasing decisions. I don't think I've ever been qualified to make that decision for you or even help you. I don't think I've ever been qualified to have that opinion because I was motivated by you guys thinking that my opinion was worth it, as opposed to just learning everything I could, being real, figuring it out with you guys, and kind of doing my own thing. What I'm saying is I made a lot of videos that I wouldn't have otherwise made if I wasn't so distracted by coming off as the guy who had it all in the Magic. It sounds so stupid to say, but I hope you know what I mean. So anyway, with all that out of the way, today we are going to be taking a look at the Orbit, the new Orbitses. We're going to be taking a look at the new Orbitses. I'm not going to be going over the Aesop Rock edition because I did do kind of like a video short for this. So if you want to see what the cards look like, that video will be a card or something. Whew, this is weird. This is my last one. I pictured it going a lot more smooth. But we are going to be taking a look at these two. I had a different video planned for these. I was going to do like this whole video short, kind of the more creative artsy thing that I've been trying to do. That's another thing you guys might have noticed. Like my last deck review was actually just a kind of an artistic video essay on why my deck reviews suck. And I'm sure some of you agreed because that video got mad likes. But anyway, we are going to be talking about these two decks. And the reason we're gonna be talking about these two is because the original video I had planned, I'm just not gonna have time to do, but I do wanna talk to you guys about these because I was super excited and we always cover Orbit. So this will be a good one to go out with. We're gonna start with the V8 Standard Edition, which, spoiler alert, is my favorite of the new 3 Orbits. Then we're gonna go over the V8 Parallel, which, you know, is actually probably my least favorite of the new 3 Orbits. But I love this one, so let's get into it. Now this one, I bought the most of. Also, just so you guys know, I did not receive any of this stuff for free. This deck review is that I paid for all of these. So everything in this video, not sponsored by Orbit. I bought the most of these ones because I actually, I see myself using these. Black and orange as pretty much my favorite color combination, being from the Bay Area. But also, I just really like the design. I really, really do. You get your typical Orbit formula-ish. It's got the Orbit block text that goes across in an orange band, and then you get kind of like a glimpse of what the back design would look like without the definitive Orbit O. However, you can see it in there. It's in there. The theme for this deck is Mars, so you can see where the orange is, there's a lot of texture there to make it look like the surface of Mars. And I think it looks really cool. It's got kind of like a paper mache or like crumpled paper feel to it, and I really like it. This box is also made out of matte paper, so it feels mad good, yo. I like it a lot. You get your classic 8th edition or edition number on one side, followed by the standard Orbit ad copy on the side. You get a new iteration of the Orbit logo on the bottom, with this one being with the Mars rover instead of the previous editions, which were like the DeLorean from Back to the Future and a flying saucer on the V6. The top says 23 in the corner, like all Orbit decks, except for the parallels, and the back design is the back design of the cards. As I said, probably my favorite of the 3. You also get your typical Orbit seal, which is just a solid color, just thematically matching the deck with the perfect circle on it, and that is your box. The V8P follows the same formula, but way darker. This one is more black and orange instead of orange and black, but it looks really, really good. Kind of inverts the V8 regular edition, but the back design is completely different. So I'm excited to talk about that as well. It says V8 Parallel Edition on one side, ad copy on the other. I do like this little detail. I wouldn't normally go into such detail, but the Orbit logo on the bottom of this one is actually foil embossed. So you can feel that, that's foil. That's a really nice touch. It's also done in orange foil, so it matches the aesthetic of the deck. I think it looks hot. And the parallel editions, instead of saying 23, say 32 on them, just kind of the idea of a parallel universe, the exact opposite. And you get an Orbit seal, this time black with an orange circle. Let's get the seal open here. Ooh, ooh. Might have damaged the box a little bit. You get your normal Orbit stuff on the inside. It's got the Orbit Instagram and website, and then the inside of this box is some stars, looks like kind of just in the middle of space, and then at the very bottom of the box it says "We are Orbit." All right, so your back design looks like this. Really, really good design. I like this a lot. Now this one and the V8P were both designed by Daniel Schneider. The Aesop Rock edition was not, but these ones were, and I really, really love this back design. It reminds me a lot of the V7 that came out last year or 2 years ago now, I guess. In that it doesn't have the border breaks. It kind of does have a border break, and you'll see what I mean when we do a fan, but it kind of has a little bit more of a minimal design than the previous Orbits, and it looks amazing. This is probably my favorite Orbit back design, period, out of all of the editions. So you can see that there is somewhat of a border break there, and it comes in the form of just this little blue and white speck there at the edge of this kind of like ripped open core of Mars. These cards are not marked as far as I know, but they do feature an interesting little addition here. If you riffle the cards, you can see the star's orbit around the circle. Pretty cool. Now, I do have a deck here that I've been shuffling for like the past week, and when the cards are out of order, they still do kind of the same thing, but it's not in unison, or it doesn't follow because the cards are out of orientation. Wow, probably didn't need to tell you that. Pretty traditional Orbit Ace of Spades. You can see an enlarged spade pip there. It's got your astronaut in the center, but this time he is on Mars. Below the spade pip, it says "We are Orbit" and orbit.af, which is the Orbit website, because they are Orbit as fuck. two identical Jokers. These ones have the Mars rover, so that's something a little bit different. Very cool. Orbit has been doing this for a while, but you can see like even from like the V6, it was like an alien on a bicycle. V7 and V7P were an astronaut or an astronaut with a dog. This one is the Mars rover, and I really like that. It's just a cool illustration. I don't know if this was like hand illustrated by Daniel, but it looks really cool. I like it mucho. There's no reveals or anything. They're just two straight up Jokers, which is totally fine. Would have been cool if there was a reveal though. Something, you know, give me something. You get your standard Orbit gaff cards. That is a double backer and a duplicate 8 of spades. 8 of spades, very, very handy. You can use that for card to impossible location. It can kind of help you with an ambitious card routine to add extra layers. And double backers, of course, one of the most handy gaff cards, at least to somebody at my skill level. And as most Orbit decks do, you get the Arco pip package, so it's a little bit bigger, chunkier, and as well you can see the hearts and diamonds are done in orange, which looks great with the back design. And then you can see that the court cards have also been recolored. Now, these are Daniel Schneider courts, however they've been drawn on Arco courts, so they don't look the same as like you would see on a Black Roses deck, but they do look like what you would see on like any of the recent Orbit decks. As well, one additional change is that all of the queens in these decks are holding swords, whereas on a typical like bicycle deck or you know whatever standard face deck, they would be holding flowers. So I like the swords. I definitely appreciate. You get Chris as the Jack of Diamonds as per usual. You see the usual suspects in here. The cards look really good. They look really, really, really good. All right, so that was the Orbit 8th edition. This deck was printed on WebPress on crushed premium stock. So just to give you guys an idea of what that's gonna feel like, it feels exactly like the Orbit V7. The regular V7, not the V7 parallel. All right, let's crack open the V8P. Lot better luck with that seal there. You get Mars on the inside of the box. You can see We Are Orbit at the bottom. All right, now this one seems to be kind of the general consensus is that this deck seems to be the favorite out of the new ones. This might be my least favorite out of the three. I think it would be the V8, then the Aesop Rock one, then this one. But either way, let's take a look at it. So your back design looks a little bit more intricate here. It's not as simple. It does have two Mars planets offering you a border break. Of course, that's nice for fans. I think you can always count on Orbit to do a design that gears towards fans, and I'm really happy about that because it's, you know, one of my favorite things to do is fan a new deck of cards. It looks like there's like maybe some blues, some like dark navy blues there in the middle, but it's mostly made up of black and orange. There's a little bit of like that blue and then some gray in there as well. Now the thing about this deck is it's the texture inside of the ring and it's the texture outside of it that kind of throws me off. If it had been just a solid color or even a color gradient without these little dots and waves in the center, I think I would have liked it more. Now, I'm not speaking for everybody, just a personal opinion. Jokers are sick. I can only assume that this is Sean, Nick, Chris, and Daniel in some spacesuits. However, they could be Martians. You never know. They could be Martians. They could be people indigenous to the planet of Mars. It's hard to say, but really cool Jokers nonetheless. I actually like these Jokers more than the Mars rover Jokers. These are probably my favorite Orbit Jokers, actually. So there's a give and take. I don't love the back design, but I do love the Jokers. Another traditional looking Orbit Ace of Spades. You get an astronaut on Mars, but maybe the parallel version of Mars. Duplicate 8 of Spades and double backer as per usual. These ones were actually just printed on crushed premium stock. They feel like the Orbit V7 parallel edition. The exact same, actually. So these feel good. They're a little bit thinner, a little bit softer as well. And the nice thing about these ones is they don't clump up as much as the WebPress ones do after a certain period. You get more standard faces in terms of the colors here as well, so you can see black for the clubs and spades, and then red, kind of more of a maroon deep red for the hearts and diamonds. But it looks really, really good. And then you get those same courts, but with different color customs. This one's interesting because the courts are still black and orange, but the faces are red. And I actually think that looks cool. I've seen it in the past with the faces being kind of different colors. But with this one being that the dominant color scheme is black and orange and then the hearts and diamonds are red, it looks interesting. It looks cool. It's not my favorite, but I don't hate it. There's something intriguing about it. Yes. All right, my friends, so you have now seen the new Orbitses. You've seen the new Orbit decks, the V8 and the V8P. I'm not joking when I say this one is actually one of my favorite decks, probably my favorite Orbit deck. This one, you know, it's one that I'll pick up, I'm sure, every once in a while. Probably not one that I would go to though, you know? Not my favorite Orbit deck. So that was it, guys. That was it. That was the Kier Gomes final deck review. And you know what? It does feel good. I'm sure that there will be a small handful of you guys that missed the deck reviews, and that's fine because I'm going to keep all the deck reviews that I've already done up on the channel. But if you're looking for current and all the newest in deck reviews and stuff, this probably isn't going to be the place to go anymore. However, please don't unsubscribe because I want to tell you guys I'm working on a bunch of other stuff. Magic related, card related, sure, but also me related. Just more in tune with who I am so I can share that with you guys. And that's going to be new for me. It's going to be very new, and I'm really excited to get to that. So anyway, sorry for the years of anticipation that I would always be here for you in terms of deck reviews, but I think you guys are probably in better hands as it is. I'm better off making things that I want to make, not making any waves, just kind of staying in my lane and doing my own thing. Well, if you did like this deck review, I hope you'll consider dropping a like on the video, and please do stay subscribed if you are subscribed, and if you haven't yet, think about it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I got all kinds of videos coming up. My next one is gonna be a fun little tutorial, but it's not gonna be a magic or cardistry tutorial. It is gonna be a tutorial in video making. So if you guys are interested in that kind of thing, or you're looking for ways to start your YouTube channel, make sure you stick around. That is gonna be coming up very soon. It's gonna be up tomorrow. You'll probably see it tomorrow. All right, guys, with all that being said, I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their day. I know I will. And I'll see you guys in the next one later.
So fast. And every moment counts, baby, I don't wanna miss a thing. We can sleep under the stars, we can sleep under the stars, or hang out in hotel bars, driving somewhere in your car. We can sleep under the stars, we can sleep under